So, in other news, there's things happening all around us, and the pace with which they're happening is kind of staggering. But I want to pull up the image of Eric Cartman. I'm sorry, not Eric Cartman, but a white supremacist who wanted to carry out an attack in the style of Dylann Roof. In the spirit, actually, is what he said. He wanted to carry out an attack, and he was inspired by Dylann Roof. The name of the gentleman you see on your screen, and I use that term loosely, is Benjamin McDowell. And this is taking place in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He was arrested on yesterday, and he said he wanted to use a gun to kill people in the style of Dylann Roof. He is a self-professed white supremacist. McDowell, according to CBS News, McDowell reportedly wrote that fellow white supremacists weren't active enough and, quote, all they want to do is stay loaded on drugs the Jews put here to destroy the white man. And, of course, this is going to fall outside of the purview of the new focus that America has only on Islamic domestic terrorism, because Donald Trump made sure that we're not looking at anything else but Islamic domestic terrorism, when in reality, America is a hotbed of white nationalist terrorism. And I am loath to use the word white supremacist because as my friend Katie Halper said on Twitter, or actually Lindsay McKay said on Twitter, that how can you really consider yourself supremacist when you are a caricature of Eric Cartman off of South Park? But that's besides the point. The point is that if we take our eyes off of white nationalist terrorism, we've taken our eyes off the biggest threat that actually exists inside of America. And we've said it so many times, we've repeated it so many times, and we've seen it come true so many times, to the point where what's the point of even talking about it, except the fact that it's our job to keep reminding America that you have more reason to be afraid of Mike than you do any Arabic sounding name that I just not even going to try to pull up at this point. You have more reasons to be afraid of a white male, a young white male inside of the United States, than you do anyone else, because of the type of terrorism that has been waged on America by white men. Not just white supremacy, like not every case has been white nationalist terrorism, but in terms of just lone shooters and mass shootings, I mean, if you look at the profile, why on earth would any rational person, and this is my mistake because I oftentimes expect us to be dealing with people who are rational, my fault for being so naive, but why would any rational person take our eye off of the real threat that is here in the United States? And not only did we take our eye off of it, but we're making it even more likely for them to get guns, no matter their mental state. We discussed yesterday that now the Congress is suspending a rule that prohibited people who were so mentally ill that they were not capable of taking care of themselves. They repealed a rule that did not allow them to get access to guns. So now not only are we dealing with hate-filled, racist, anti-Semitic, white nationalists, Nazis that are committing violence in the United States, now we're adding on top of that the ability for people who are genuinely unhinged to get access to weapons and commit their atrocities. But we're going to focus on, domestically, we're going to focus on Islamic terrorism. Not only is it obviously a political ploy, not only is it a signal to other white supremacists, in addition to Trump and Steve Bannon, it's a signal that they're sending that everything's fine. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Not only is it that, but it is undermining the security of our nation, our internal security. we can discuss and argue about the necessity of or the imperialistic desires of America in the Middle East and North African nations that creates. We can discuss all of that. We can discuss the need for a war on terrorism, and we could argue about the merits and the necessity or just the over. We can discuss all the nuances of it about what happens overseas. But domestically, you stand a better chance of being killed by a white nationalist or a lone shooter than you do any Islamic terrorist. But we don't live in a world of facts. We live in a world of alternative facts. We live in a world of lies.